Let's speak to somebody that has known Jack Moran for 30 years and going, and that is Michael Naftal. And Michael is one of the principals at Keystone Plastics, and he is in a position to know Jack pretty much better than most anybody else. So, thanks very much, Michael, for wanting to talk about Jack. He's been an integral part of your organization for a real long time. So, um, talk to me about your view of what that's been like.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Ranger, for putting this together and giving us the opportunity to speak about Jack Moran and his tenure at Keystone Plastics and give you a little insight to what it's been like working with Jack and watching the whole company grow through his years as sales manager and my perspective on things and some of the companies in the industry that he's worked with, as well as a couple of other people here within the company. Jack's been with Keystone for well over 30 years. He was actually plant manager prior to coming in and working underneath my father. He worked for my grandparents for a period of time. When my father was able to come in and purchase Keystone Plastics from his in-laws, he went back out and grabbed Jack, a key person that was there prior to, and brought him back into the fold as sales manager. At that time, we were in the beginning of redeveloping the company. Went out and brought in a new production manager, plant manager, and key person in Jack Moran as sales manager. Jack worked for 30 years here, working extremely hard to help grow our business. His dedication was seen throughout the industry in regards to traveling, being on the phone with customers all the time, and being able to create a wealth of knowledge to the customer about the products and the services that we offer here at Keystone Plastics. We started off as a very small regional company, and with Jack's help, we traveled throughout the industry itself, selling our products direct into the marketplace, as well as creating our first distributor network and going out to the industry direct with the products throughout North America. The company, with Jack's help, has been growing year after year for over the last 30 years, and he has been instrumental in that. I came to Keystone about a year after my father and Jack started working in the organization to grow the business back. I'd like to say Jack was my mentor, taught me everything I needed in the street sweeping business. I like to say that Jack opened up the doors and he sent me on the road to close the doors. That recipe worked very well for a very, very long time, up until just recently when he moved to Arizona and took on a different role with us. He was here from 5 to 5:30 in the morning every single day, gave me a lot of security knowing that he was here to open the place. And most of the time when I was traveling, he would also close the place. So that kind of dedication you don't find too much anymore. And it is truly a big reason why we became a very successful company within our industry. We've seen opportunities in the industry. Jack was very instrumental in helping create certain products within the marketplace. For example, the All-Pro Strip Broom was part of his concept, and creating other blocks and things for other sweepers out there. He was always pushing hard to create new products and give us the opportunity to purchase that equipment to do it. And then he would go out there and sell it, make sure it was successful and worth our while. Over the years, Jack and I have traveled extensively together in both sides of our industry, not just street sweeping, but we also supply the fine filament brush industry for industrial as well as household brushes. And Jack traveled with myself and my father for over the 30 years that he was with us in both sides of the business. Very long hours, very hard days on the road back then. There were no cell phones. It was just out there humping it for a long time on the road and seeing as many customers as you possibly could and trying to figure out how to get to most of the places because you had no guidance systems back then. So those were the real hard sales days back then. And he did it without ever complaining. We used to share rooms back in those days when we traveled to hotels, which was always interesting, but we got along extremely well. We saw a lot of success over the years, and I just always really appreciated the time and effort that he put into this organization. He wasn't a member of the family, but we always hoped that we treated him like one, and he felt he was part of our family throughout the 30 years he worked here.
You know, one of the things, Michael, that I always appreciated about Jack was he took the time to listen to anybody and to help them out with product knowledge and so forth. And I think that's one of the things that has helped Keystone a lot is not only innovative products, but being willing to explain to the newbie what's really going on, and how it works best.
And that's part of his background as being plant manager prior to coming into the sales manager position. He knew how all the products were made. He knew what we did to make them and the quality and the effort we did to create them. And it made it, his knowledge in the machines itself, that much easier to try and sell the product. Again, customers knew he could be called at 6:30 in the morning and 7,
Right.
and he was always here. And people always knew they could reach him. And he fought very hard for the customer. He pushed hard every day to get as much out of that shipping list as possible. Half the orders were coming in the middle of the day, and he was still shipping them that same very day, as his goal was to make sure everybody was satisfied.
Yeah.
His dedication was really tremendous. And again, we had a lot of good times here together, saw a lot of growth. And we also, as family members, saw a lot of sad things take place throughout our time too. Over 30 years, you have a lot of different situations take place.
Of course.
But we shared them together, and that was the main thing. And now for the last 4 years, he's been in Tucson and working for us in a sales capacity still. And it just became time to where he steps away and starts the next chapter in his life. And I really do wish him all the success in the world. I hope he finds a lot of happiness in his retirement because he deserves it. And hopefully we still stay in touch as much as possible. And he knows that he always has a home here at Keystone to come back to.
Well, I really appreciate your sentiments on that. And as somebody who's also getting ready to leave the industry for whatever pastures, they're either whiter or grayer, I'm not sure, that lie ahead, I really appreciate the idea of having somebody be there with you as a family member and an integral part of your organization. He's been a real credit.
He truly was. In the early days, he traveled extensively with my father. They went through Canada together. They went to the West Coast. They went all over North America together for 3 or 4 days at a time. Jack didn't really want to travel on his own, nor do we want my father traveling on his own. So they made a great team, and they were very successful out on the road together. And they complemented each other out there. So it was a great recipe for success all the way around for the company.
Yeah, your company has certainly been very successful as it, reaching into the pinnacle of the U.S. marketplace. That's for sure.
Well, we found the recipe for success with our staff, who we feel we have the best staff in the market, the knowledge of their products that they produce, as well as the desire to continue to acquire new equipment and reinvest in the industry itself. And as we saw growth, we were always willing to do that. And that benefited all of us that worked here at Keystone, that those opportunities were created.
So, Michael, is there any kind of a story that sticks out in your mind that you might, bring out here? I mean, after all, he's leaving, so what have you got to lose?
Over the 30 years, we went to football games together. We went to baseball games together. We went out with customers to dinners and different things like that. And you run the whole full gamut of a lot of different experiences. One thing does stick out in my mind is that unfortunately, one day we had some ice going on here at Keystone, and Jack was always opening up the door in the morning, and he slipped on the steps and he actually fell and broke his ankle. Nowadays, the person would be out for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. Jack was here the next day. He come in on the crutches and he hobbled right down the hallway and went into his office and never missed a day. And that just kind of shows the dedication.
I guess. Yeah, that does show the dedication.
It does.
Yeah, good.
One other funny story, we're in a facility that's been here for a while. And at one point unfortunately, we had some termites coming through the company. And Jack's office was sitting by a huge window. And they were coming through the wood and flying around the windows and all around his desk. He never left the office. He never walked away from the desk. He had them flying all around him, and he just stayed dedicated to the desk and answering the phones and doing what he had to do. And nothing fazed him. And his mission was to make us as success as he could. And he did that every day he worked here. And as he starts the next chapter, we just wish him a lot of happiness and health and good luck, and know that he's got a family here that he can always come back and visit. And we hope he does.
Well, you know that he will at some point, and thanks a lot for that. And that's a great story.
I mean, it's just true him though. Nothing fazed him. He'd
Yeah.
sit there with the termites, he'd sit there with a broken ankle. Whatever it was, he'd hobble in here and just make sure he was at work every day. Never missed any time. Didn't.
Well,
It's just,
yeah, he just didn't want to miss a sale. You know that, and I know
no,
that.
he did not want to miss anything. And he still doesn't today.
Yeah, that's
That hasn't left him.
right. Okay, well, thanks. That's Michael Naftal, and he's in a uniquely superior position to know Jack, and I really appreciate your comments, and I know Jack will too, Michael.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
So. Well, so Jack, when did you actually get started with Keystone?
1989.
1989, yeah. So that's a year after really I did the first Superback Quarterly, the first newsletter for sweeping. So we're both old guys, and happy to have gotten this, to here. I know. And when you did that, you were working with Marvin, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So how did that take place? You were a plant manager for a plastics company at some point, or?
I was the plant manager for Keystone Plastics.
Oh, okay.
So an opportunity arose and I took it. And at one point in time, Marvin called me up and asked me if I was interested in coming in for an interview for sales.
Uh-huh.
So it worked out well. They were very short-staffed at that time. They were much smaller, and Marvin and I hit the road.
And so you really knew about the plastics end of it, but did you know much about the sweeping side of it?
Well, I knew the products, and I knew the complications of what some products brought. But that did help me in my sales because you know what you want to sell and you know what you don't want to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what were the products back then? Was it different than it is? I mean, you've basically invented, some new products for Keystone. What was the product lineup like back then?
It was much smaller. It was traditionally just, running about 2 brooms, gutter brooms. Wafers were not a part of our mix back then. But, after the introduction of the All-Pro strip broom, the wafers, everything started to fall in place.
And did they have much of a customer base at that point?
We were much smaller. We were much smaller. Our primary customers were other brush manufacturers that we supplied components to.
Oh, uh-huh. And then they had the end user sales.
Yes, yes. And that time, at one point in time, we decided it was our best interest to sell direct.
And so when you say you hit the road with Marvin, what you did was to go to sweeping companies or
Everything.
municipalities, or
the whole premise was to introduce ourselves
uh-huh.
and to gain their trust and develop relationships and opportunities. And we've been very successful.
So who were they using at the time? Who were the other competitors back then?
Primarily, probably United Rotary and 3B Brush, West Coast Equipment. Some of these companies are no longer here.
Right. You've had better longevity. You've done.
Yes, family business is the way to go.
I would have to agree with that. And so you traveled with Marvin for a while, building up the business, and then what after that? What would you say were your primary challenges back in those days, or talk about what the industry was like back then?
Well, the industry was much, much smaller back then. And, you got to remember, I'm like you, I go back a few years. And when I started our relationships and building with customers, I was dealing with our present customers' fathers.
Right.
And many of them have been passed down, as you well know, to the sons. And we've continued our working relationship.
Yeah.
But traveling, meeting people, and after we've developed a base of the company, we brought in Michael. Michael came into the company and I taught him the business, and he's been very helpful.
Yeah, I'm sure of that, and that's what happens when with any business as the sons move
Yes.
into the business. Street sweeping at the time, I recall distinctly, was really just for cosmetics. And now I didn't learn much about street
Right.
sweeping until about that time frame. When I came on board with the Schwartz family, they had just purchased Aplex,
Yep.
a vacuum or regenerative air manufacturer. And that's the point when I started learning really about street sweeping. Schwartz had a very large percentage of the contractor business in the country, and moving
Yes,
into
they did.
street sweeping was a whole different thing with dealers and so forth. But street sweeping operations essentially were cosmetic at that point, I would say. There
Sure.
wasn't much thought about stormwater runoff or pollution, or it was who had the mayor's phone number and would
Right.
complain about the stuff that was on the street and get a sweeper out there.
I think you're very responsible for that.
Well,
You educated the market with the
well,
needs of keeping our streets clean.
well, thanks. That's really why I founded American Sweeper magazine after the Superback Quarterly run was to try to educate about stormwater. I've always been kind of a flaming environmentalist, and I was looking for a business that would push the needle toward environmentalism as well as be able to
Good.
make a living and so forth. And that's really only today, at the end of both of our careers, come to fruition, in that Florida is showing that it's
Yep.
7 times more cost effective to sweep to get rid of phosphorus and nitrogen. And Minnesota is now following along with that, and Michigan is going to follow their lead and give credits for the amount of material picked up by a sweeper. So that'll
Yeah.
change. That'll change everything. And do you feel that the sweeping industry is stronger today than it was back then?
It's very strong.
Yeah.
It's multiplied.
Yeah.
As I said, when we first started visiting people, they were customers with 1 or 2 sweepers. Now they have multiple, a whole barrage of a fleet, and they do all different types of sweeping.
There was really a mom and pop era
Yeah.
back then, I would say. And now we have, even the new Sweeping Corporation of America happening. Now, if it's not your phone doing that, it's me. I thought that I had that off as well.
Let me turn mine off.
Yeah, I'll turn mine down further. And those, I'm not sure how to approach the idea of those, the way it's different to sell to those large accounts versus the smaller accounts and so forth.
Yeah.
I think Keystone, you picked up some pretty large accounts here in the last while.
Yes, we have.
And how's that different from dealing? I mean, it's great when you can deal with one person and sell, or one outfit and sell, many pallets of brooms. But
Right.
how has that changed how things are done, do you think?
Well, a number of our distributors have grown as well. The OEMs, the distributor network, and everything is really full circle now. The industry has gotten very large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure has, and really the worldwide industry too, and it's branched out to not just being little teeny parking lot sweepers and
Right.
huge street sweepers, but now we're getting bike lane sweepers. We're getting all manner of different, from electric to self-powered autonomous sweepers that are
Yep.
happening soon. I understand there's a test being done in the California marketplace for a retrofit for autonomous sweepers for parking lots. And
Well, New York City has a sweeper too that's all electric.
Yeah. I think that's the global unit is
Yes.
has just been there, and that's going to happen. And in China, one year, I had for my April Fool's joke a sweeper that we photoshopped up to have solar panels on the top of it.
Yeah.
And solar panels would kind of move as the sweeper moved and stay in the sun and all that. And it wasn't about 5 years that in China they have sweepers with solar panels on the top.
Hey, I had a Dick Tracy watch when I was a kid.
Right, right. And look at the capabilities of the Dick Tracy watch today are, enormous. Yeah, that's for sure. Do you have? I guess, tell me about your biggest satisfaction in the way you were running the business.
I became very friendly with the family. The Naftal family's been very good to me. It's been an honor and a privilege to work with them. They gave me the leeway to steer the company's direction, and the addition to Brian coming into the company was a great asset. He's got a very, very good engineering mind, and now, as you well know, we've hired Mike Santos as my replacement as the sales manager, and he's got a whole new perspective on things. He's the future. He knows his stuff. He's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he's been real good to work with for many of the things with Keystone, and including setting this up. So
good.
That has been helpful. Okay, and then what do you have any regrets? You wish had happened, and maybe you weren't able to get there.
No, not really. No, I still have a lot of thoughts in my head of some new product developments that I still speak with Marvin about some ideas of creating a new product for the street sweeping industry. It's a lot of fun. Product development is probably one of my strengths, but being in sales, I wasn't able to devote as much time to that area as I would have liked.
Sure. That's no doubt due to your product management background.
Correct.
For managing the plant. Yeah. I would.
When I look back at even the early days to your original question, I met you at every trade show for 32 years. I crawled under every sweeper. I made notes of what brush went on what sweeper, and I had my own library, so I knew what I was talking about when people would ask me the question. And it seems to have worked out very well. I went to the seminars. I learned from the people themselves. The actual private contractors shared with me what they thought this industry needed, and I was their voice, and it worked.
Yeah, that was one of the difficulties I found with back working with the Schwartz family's sales team is too many of the sales folks thought of the show as a vacation.
Yeah.
And instead it's an intensive. It's where you can learn more than anywhere else. Go to the seminars, etc.
Right.
Yeah, that's that's a change. Looking back on it, I think I would have said require your salespeople to assign different seminars and have book reports on them. When they come back.
All true.
So Jack, I've got somebody looks like in the waiting room that wants to say whatever they're going to say. I think that's
wonderful.
So who knows what they might say?
How about that?
Hey, Jay.
What's going on, Big Jack?
How you doing, brother? Remember, I got your back.
Yeah, that's a good reason to be on this call. You just haven't told me how far back.
I know.
Forever. I couldn't tell him who was coming on because I didn't want him throwing money at you guys to say nice things. So what do you have to say about Jack? Jay, so Jay Presidius heads up East Coast sweeping, and I may have the name slightly wrong, but that's pretty much it. And so how long have you known Jack Moran, Jay?
I'll help you out with that. It's East Coast Industrial Services. I've known Jack.
That wasn't quite right.
Yeah, Jack, I've known for a lot of years, I would say, Jack.
Yeah.
Better part of 10 plus.
Definitely.
And somebody, I'm pulling over here so I can actually talk like a human and not drive. But anyways, yeah. So one of the funny stories I can remember about Jack is when we were down in Nashville, and we decided everyone was gonna go out one night. So we all went to Coyote Ugly's, and we walked in, and them girls were dancing on the bar and being a little rowdy. They were. It was very disgusting, I might add. I had a hard time watching it and looking at it, but anyways, and there was an issue. I forget what the issue was. Jack, you could go with what that issue was.
I remember one of the guys that were with us, whose name I won't say, happened to touch one of the girls, and they kind of arrested him and throw him in a room, and we did everything we could to get him out.
Yeah. So it was a very interesting night, and we were told maybe that's the way you guys operate in New York and New Jersey, but not here in Nashville, and blah blah blah. But yeah, it was a good night, and that was just one of many moments. Jack and I have had some good laughs over the years.
Yes. You've been a good customer. Thank you for your business over the years.
No problem. Who else is on the call, Ranger?
Just the three of us.
All right. I just want to make sure I'm not out of line in anything I say.
No,
hey, Ranger, if I could help you out with some proceeds or something to a Gillette razor or something, let me know. I'll be happy to help.
Yeah. It takes sheep shears at this point.
I think you need a hedge trimmer.
A hedge trimmer might do it. I'm afraid of ruining my hedge trimmer to see what would happen.
Yeah, I'm looking a little different. I'm 130 pounds lighter.
You look great, Jay.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
So one of the things that you have done, Jay, through the years, like Jack and I have, is to go to all of the shows. And how do you see things that have changed in the last few years with that, or 10 or so?
I enjoy the shows. I'm sick enough to honestly think that that's actually my vacation is when I go to those shows, because I like the networking. I like meeting everybody and brainstorming with ideas and so on and so forth in the classes. What I see has changed is the fact that the attendance is just not where the attendance has, used to be.
Right.
And trying to get a lot of the new people in business or people that have been in business to come to the show and educate them that, it's not the good old boy network, and there's a lot to be learned at these shows, and the networking's invaluable. And that's where they really need to do is push the attendance to get the attendance up. I think it's going to be a slow time coming back on this show after this pandemic and kind of shut everything down. Everybody's got their white knuckles on the doorknob, kind of. But I hope, Jack, I know you're retiring, but for old time's sake, you got to come to the show.
I might do that.
Well, it's I agree with you completely. The show is it's just amazing when they have so many people at the show, and they talk about pricing, and all the people at the show say they price well above the marketplace, and they're the ones that are successful and have an opportunity to go to the show and bring their people and so forth. So
well, I think what you're going to see, I think the tide's going to change a little bit. I don't think pricing is going to be so much the issue anymore. I think what you're going to have now is, because of such a problem with getting help, the prices are going up. So the prices are going up because it's costing you more to do the job, because you're having to pay more in labor to get more people. You're having to pay more in fuel at the pump. So the prices are going up automatically. The problem and the challenge is finding the labor to fill the seats. I literally I have a marketing company that is just focusing on finding people for me right now. And we had 17 interviews set up, and I rented a Courtyard Marriott conference room, and 17 confirmed interviews, confirmed 3 hours before the time they had to be there, 2 showed up. This is what we're up against.
That's yeah, that's a
But
lot.
let me add another thing before Jay leaves. And
All
we're
right.
talking about what's changing in the industry, and we're all seeing the price of gasoline increasing. Our raw materials at Keystone are skyrocketing, and it's become very difficult to do the best you can to maintain your costing. And but there's some problems out there with supply and demand. There's a shortage of people. We're all having issues right now, and prices probably will go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a situation now. I can use 12 more roll-off containers. The cost of steel to build these roll-off containers has gone up 25% over the past 3 months, and the lead time is 8 to 14 weeks to get a roll-off container. I mean, it's mind-boggling what it's costing, and I'm trying to do some strategic things because I'm trying not to hit the customers with huge increases. So what I'm doing is I'm making deals with some of my shopping centers and saying, hey, so I don't have to raise your price because of the cost of fuel and labor. Can I leave a truck at your shopping center? The less windshield time you have driving, the less fuel you burn, the less time you spend, and I could pass that savings along by not having to raise my price and pick shopping centers where I have a lot of them right around one, and they let you use the sprinkler room. We put a tablet in there for our guys and bags and stuff. So we're trying to be a little creative like that. But again, this isn't about me. This is about you, Jack, and many years of service.
And Jay, if there's anything further you want to say to Jack, go ahead and do that. We've got somebody else knocking at the door. They're just connecting up to their audio.
All right. Well, all I can say is, Jack, you have my number. You know where I'm at. If you ever need anything, enjoy your retirement. Happy years ahead. And again, all I can say is enjoy your time. Ranger, thanks for having us and thinking of me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your friendship, Jay.
Thank you. Anytime. Take care, guys.
Indy Urbanic, looking good.
Yeah.
Hang on.
What's going on?
No, we're all right. We're recording. So, Andy Urbanic, the star of Elgin's parts scene at Elgin Sweeper, and probably more. He's got Vactor on his shirt, so we know Elgin.
Yeah, Vactor, Elgin.
Synonymous with Vactor. So, what do you got to say to Mr. Moran here? And I use the term Mr. very advisedly.
Well, when I told Jack I lost some weight, he called me a sellout. So
Quitter.
that's some of the things, as you see your friends start to retire, some of the daily humor things that you are used to hearing.
Yes.
That's what I appreciate about Jack. It's a good relationship, excels at customer service as far as getting the job done, but just all around good guy. He's a regular guy, I guess as a term we would use here in the Midwest. Might be a little different in New Jersey, probably have a couple of swear words involved there, but
Well, these days,
no, I
in Arizona,
thoroughly enjoyed working with Jack over the years. We enjoyed some ball games together, a couple of nice steak meals, but I think more importantly, just the friendship that you develop through our working relationships. It's there's some people you learn you can trust, and there's other people that you keep an eye on. Jack's one of the ones that we could learn to trust. And that's it just speaks to his character.
Thank you, Andy.
Hey, no problem.
that's very high praise. When you don't have to double check all your orders and you leave a message, and you know that when you leave a message, it's going to get done. That's huge in business.
Exactly.
And when they say something will be delivered, it ends up there.
I just wonder what Jack's going to do with all his free time now.
Well, I am having total knee replacement in a month, and then I get back out to playing softball.
Yeah, I doubt you'll ever play the piano. I'm just saying.
Never could.
I never could either. You got any kind of a story that you can dredge up with this guy, Andy?
I don't know general story.
Do you ever
Chicago pizza.
eat a steak with his fingers or anything?
No, he's very cultured. No, we enjoyed a ball game together and went to a Chicago pizza after the fact. So never did make it over to Wrigley Field, but one of these days, Jack.
I will.
Well, that's a goal that a lot of people have is that particular one. I would think anyway.
No.
How long did you work with Jack, Andy?
Oh, well, we started using their products and I probably became involved with Jack around 2010. But over the years, back when Vactor built a sweeper, the best darn sweeper on the market, until we were bought by Elgin or Federal Signal. No, it's we had some dealings with them, but I wasn't in. You know, we bought some Keystone brooms way back then, but I wasn't involved with them. So I would say it was around 2009, 2010. We worked on a couple of projects together with our dealer out in California. You know, a lot of projects that we've worked on over the years, and you know, Jack's one of the things. He's like the freight master. He would know what it would cost to go wherever, dealing with the freight companies, and you know, I compare the size of our corporation to Keystone and wonder how could they get better rates on some of the freight than what we were getting. But you know, again, it's a lot of that's a relationship. How much business can you deliver to one particular customer, you know, vendor? So that's some of the reasons. But you know, particular stories that won't incriminate them, I can't really think of any.
Well, there must have been something about the Keystone representing Keystone that got Elgin to move to using Keystone brooms and brushes. I mean, were you directly a part of that, Jack, in trying to get Elgin to move to your product line? How did that take place?
You asking me?
Yeah, well, I'm asking, how does that work? I mean, it might be helpful for people watching.
Well, Marvin and I would travel there quite often, and we'd introduce ourselves to new people, engineering and stuff, and opportunities arose for one reason or another, and we jumped on the bandwagon, and before you know it, we started out slow, showed them that we are capable of handling their needs, and now we have it all.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great customer.
Well, I sometimes tell contractors what they have to do to get the business is answer their phone and do what they say they're going to do.
Well, the other thing that I did for Andy is a lot of customers will call from a particular state looking for brushes or brooms, and I would ask them who is their present supplier. And in most cases, I would just refer them to the Elgin dealer in that area. And, you know, that was a two-way street. It worked out well for all of us.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you don't have to do, but when you do it, it's noticeable.
Yes, it is.
People see it. So, well, that's great. Any final thoughts you have on what you'd like to say about this guy, Andy?
I just wish him the best. You know, keep in touch, Jack. The industry is going to miss you.
Thank you, Andy. I'm going to miss you too.
All right.
Yeah.
If I ever start up a broom company, I'll know who to call.
You got it.
I don't see that happening, but you never know.
You never know. But thank you for your friendship, Andy.
All right, Jack, you take care. Good talking with you. Ranger, you have a good day.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for coming in. Well, Jack, we've got some technical difficulties with another old friend of yours. And so we're going to join him just with audio here. But Roger Dietrich of LaCal is on the line. And so Roger, we're rolling. And what have you got to say about this old guy? I wish you could see this old geezer on the phone with me or on Zoom with me.
I just seen some pictures of him, Ranger, while you and I was trying to get the pictures on, and he's got his Hawaiian shirt on like always, and so he's that or his pajamas. He's already
got it.
But can you hear me, Jack?
I can hear you fine, Roger.
Yeah, I seen you a little bit ago. You was laughing your what off because you know how good I am on this stuff. But Ranger goes back a long time. And wait a minute, Jack, somebody wants to say hi to you here.
Hi, Jack. It's Elsa.
Hey. Great to hear from you guys.
And obviously, I'm helpless. But Ranger, it's been over 30 years. And I sent Jack a note the other day that a little bit personal from the standpoint of our relationship goes well beyond all the parts talks and broom talks and company procedures and manufacturing, everything that's associated with the business. We at LaCal learned an awful lot from Jack, and he was always very cordial. Obviously very, very patient, because dealing with me is not an easy thing to do for the most part, but he stuck with it, got our business about 30 some years ago, and it's been a good relationship for LaCal and Keystone, but a lot of it's got to do with Jack and everything that went with it. We spent times talking about things other than business, family, and some of the difficult times we both went through. I think we helped each other a little bit, whether it was on a bar stool or on a telephone. And so there's stories to be told, but I think the memories are good. But it's been a wonderful relationship for me personally, but also a great relationship for LaCal. So I don't know how to make him look any better than I just did, but everything I think is true.
Roger, from my side, it's been an honor and a privilege working with you and your staff. They're good company.
But he's going to miss some of them 5 o'clock in the morning phone calls out there from me. But
I bet he will. Yeah, I bet he will. And I wish you could see, it's not exactly a Hawaiian shirt he's wearing today, but it's pretty darn close. It's Arizona Hawaiian. It could be. It could be pajamas. That's it. I wore a collared shirt for this event, but once I got here, I noticed that my beard, which I let grow during COVID, has covered up the collar, so nobody knows what I'm wearing either.
It's very impressive. I must say that. I'm impressed with your beard. I don't have the capabilities or the patience, so and Jack will attest to the patience part. But yeah, it's been a good thing, and there's a lot of things to be said, but I think he knows where I'm coming from.
As I said earlier, Roger, it's been an honor and a privilege.
Well, he was very eloquent in that message you just sent and shared. It means a lot to everybody here. And I think Jack, that whether you ever get out of Arizona or not, where you get a free beer and a meal here in Ohio. And if I have to, I can even put you up for one night. Is about all that you can go stay at the anyhow. But
you're welcome here as well.
I hope you know that.
I know that.
I'll just say it that
you're welcome here as well, Roger.
That if I ever decide that I'm going to travel any, I'm going to hunt you down. I'll find you.
Good.
That's the best relationships, I think, and they say that all business is personal, and I'm a firm believer after so many years of my career too that you have to having a personal relationship makes all the difference, and it makes it a lot more difficult to want to change your business relationship when you don't know, you don't care for or don't really know who you're going to be working with.
Well, you're saying it right. think you're saying a well ranger, and the thing that goes with that is that probably on a face-to-face time, we've probably spent less than 48 hours in all these years being right in the same room or whatever with each other. But he's a good personal friend, and that's just what happens in some of these businesses. You don't have many of them. But Jack also knows me well enough that when I say I'm done here, that he's going to be one of the first two or three that I'm going to call to tell him, hey, I'm still alive, but I'm not here. And we'll be calling each other off and on until the old cell phone in the sky goes away. But it's been fun. It's been fast, Jack. It's been very quick. And
Yes.
we can say that you know that most of it's been very good.
Well, that's very well said on your side of things too, Roger.
Your friendship is important to me, Roger.
I will, and you know I will, and you know what I'm saying. Yes, we will be keeping in touch, and if you got something on your mind, call me. You know the number here.
Thank you, Roger.
And it sounds like you've got a free couch for the night too. So
I know.
if needed, you just get to Ohio. All you got to do is hitchhike to Ohio, and you'll be good for the night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm that gracious. I got a carpeted floor. You know, I do it for 12 hours. I'll give him 6 hours on the floor, then he'll be up and moving on.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
If only you had a vacuum cleaner, that would be a better offer.
yeah, that might wake him up. But like I said, we've had some good times in Nashville and other places, and it's just been. And Jack, I hope your family's good. I hope it continues that way, and all your future endeavors are gonna, be good. And who knows what's coming around the corner? Okay.
Thank you very much, Roger. You're a good friend.
Thanks, Roger.
Appreciate
you coming in.
It's been an honor and a pleasure. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye.
And I also wanted to say that David Dubioso wasn't able to join us today. He's out on family business, and he wanted to make sure that I extended all kinds of nice and flowery things, and what a great guy you are, and that kind of stuff. I assume he was making it all up as he went along, but
That's right.
in case he wasn't, there's that. So, well, what else should we talk about? Is there anything else you'd like to say or have said in this? It wasn't much of a roast, I got to say, Jack. It was
Lucky. I always think of what you and I talked about years ago when you made those buttons for me that come from an old Grateful Dead song.
Right.
One man gathers what another man spills.
right.
And I don't know if anybody realized how that relates to our industry.
Yeah, Jack, you out of the blue sent me a quote from the Grateful Dead, and I'm down with that. And it was something that you wanted to relate to the power sweeping industry, and I'm going to show everybody what that is. You sent it. It was one man gathers what another man spills, which is, do you recall what song that's from?
Saint Stephen.
Oh yeah, Saint Stephen. Yeah, in our band, I played in a Grateful Dead cover band when I was in college, and we played Saint Stephen. It's a pretty obscure song. But out of that, and without the red marks, I'm not sure what the idea was there. I think that's the cut line for the buttons. I had several hundred buttons made up, and we had those at the National Pavement Expo that year. I hope you still have one. I'd still have one around here somewhere.
I still got one.
Yeah, and it was a good reminder of what we do in this industry.
Right.
And these days, it's not just things that don't matter that get spilled. There's some really important things that get spilled, and I've
Right.
always said that the power sweeping industry is the first line of defense for water quality when it comes from anything that's based on the pavement. And I think once we're gone, in future years, we'll find that sweeping changes a lot more in terms of stopping pretty much all fugitive dust. There are sweepers now that are doing that. I saw the new Ravo that's one of the things they really handle fugitive dust well, and as well as picking up those small micron particles that tend to have all the pollutants in them, and that'll become a much bigger deal. I'm glad to see that before either one of us retires, Minnesota and Florida and I believe Michigan are going to give direct credits for how much material is picked up by sweepers, because they recognize how much phosphorus and nitrogen, especially, is in that material. And a big part of that is what can the gutter broom bring up and put in the path of the sweeper too. So the gutter brooms make a big difference of that. And you invented a gutter broom. Talk about that if you would.
Well, there's a number of different styles we've introduced, but we introduced the 2-section, 16-inch, 28-inch measurement for the Elgin Whirlwind, Supervax, a number of other sweepers that followed the dimensions there, because years ago, people all used woodback gutter brooms. So the plastic head gutter broom block enabled them to fill the block themselves or buy them filled in poly or poly wire.
Mm-hmm.
So that number has done very well.
Yeah, that made a big difference. And a lot of people do fill their own brooms these days.
Yes, we sell them all the components, but you know, the traditional Elgin and mobile block have been around before my time. You know, they were inventions by Brian's grandparents.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part either. Well, you know, Jack, I see there's somebody in the waiting room here. Let's see who we've got. And I think they're on their phone, so we may not get video with them. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's Mitch Armstrong. How's it going?
Wow. Hello, Mitch.
Hello.
So is there a chance we can get video too, Mitch, or it's not necessary?
I don't think my phone's
all right. That's fine.
At this point.
What do you have to say to Mr. Moran as he rides his tricycle off into the sunset?
Well, I would like to say thank you for all the years of filling our orders for Keystone Plastics, and gonna miss you at the trade shows and stuff like that. We always look forward to hanging out and seeing you and the rest of the team, and enjoy your retirement. Arizona's probably the best place to be, especially for golf and anything else golf related. And Kerry Armstrong and myself are very happy to have worked with you, and you always did an excellent job for us. Always had our orders filled on time, and if there was any issues, they were made perfect afterwards, and it's all we could expect. You were always a great friend and salesman, and we appreciate you. Have a great retirement.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Give your dad my best.
Oh, will do. And he's sitting here too. Dad, you want to say something?
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm here
Kerry.
at work. So I haven't figured out when to retire yet. I'm not at 80 yet, so next year.
Oh, that's good. As long as you have your health.
Yeah.
Got that. Play golf 2 and 3 days a week when I'm in Phoenix. So
Love it. Love it.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't really need to watch daytime TV. It'll do without you.
no, I don't even know it's on.
I thank you guys for your friendship, man. That's really nice.
No. And we appreciate you. You did. You always made sure we had the right product, and it was seamless. It was really nice dealing with somebody that knew their product inside and out. I mean, more than anybody else. That's why you were our go-to guy, and I appreciate all you did for us all these years.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one and keep in contact. We're in
Yes.
Arizona here and there, and we'll get together sometime and have a beer.
I'd love that.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for taking the time to wish Jack well in his retirement. And in the unlikely event, Carrie, that you retire, let me know, and we should do a little something on you too. You've been a mainstay of the industry for a long time, and brought Mitch up in your likeness. So good for you.
I must have did a pretty good job too, because he takes care of it. He's been doing it for 5 years now when I go to Phoenix. So,
Yeah.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, Jack.
You're welcome, guys.
All right. Thanks, Ranger. And thank
All
you,
right.
Jack. And we'll
You're
you
all
guys
welcome.
take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Well, so that concludes our cameo appearances of people that wanted to say hi, and there's lots more out there, but I thought that, this thing can't go on forever. So in closing, what do you got to say for yourself, big guy? This will be this is your last hurrah in the sweeping industry. So you're going to go off on those new horizons on a new knee, and who knows what'll happen. Playing softball again. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But, again, I started out telling you, but in closing, the opportunity the Naftal family gave me, and I ran with it, and I had fun every minute. I had fun with it, and I'm so glad of the relationships that I've made. These are friendships forever. These are good people, salt of the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly something to be said about the people in the sweeping industry. Real down to earth.
Yeah.
All of the earth kind of people. Yep. I'll miss those when I'm gone too. Well, wishing you all the best for me too. And I hope that this exit for you, proves to be fun for others in the industry, which I know it will, but maybe your grandchildren down the line
Yes.
as somebody that was integral to the sweeping industry and was very well respected and well liked. So
Well,
thanks.
thank you for putting this all together, Ranger. And, in closing, I look forward to your publication every month.
Thanks. We're trying to move the needle and keep everybody up to the latest. So
Good.
Much obliged. Well, with that, I'll say adieu.
Adieu, my friend. Good job, Ranger.
Thanks, Jack. So at this point, I'd like to bring in Marvin Naftal. And Marvin has long been the principal, had the principal ownership at Keystone. And let's let him tell that part of the story. So Marvin, thanks for taking time to do this. It says on the screen you're on Mike Santos' computer, and that's the person that's taken over for Jack, I think, maybe.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So he was the person who facilitated this for us. But talk about the early days of Keystone, if you would, Marvin, and how Jack fit into that.
So when I came into Keystone, it was a company that was supplying parts, injection molded parts like blocks and bristle to the brush industry as well as the road industry. I had no background whatsoever in the brush industry, just the plastic end of it. And Jack was available at the time. We reached out to him and he joined the company. And Jack was literally instrumental in helping build up the company because he came in with expertise, knowing as this former sales manager, speaking to customers in the industry, he understood what the industry was all about. Unfortunately, a lot of the manufacturers that Keystone was originally supplying were going into producing their own blocks and extruding their own bristle. So the sales, as soon as I came in, were
dropping dramatically. When Jack joined us, and his knowledge of what was needed in the industry, we slowly started to bring in equipment, and the company started to build up. He was the guiding force in terms of what was needed to become a brush making company in this industry. And he's been with us for a lot of years, and the company has grown. And then we brought in a number of people, but Michael and Brian, my two sons, who joined us in the company, they were very fortunate to have Jack as their mentor. He literally taught them, coming from different industries, what the brush industry was all about. And as a result, that combination, the company has prospered since.
It certainly has prospered, and really is known as for its leadership role in the product line that it provides to the industry. So that's I understand from just from my knowledge of it that Jack also was instrumental in coming up with and contributing to some of those product designs as well that have helped catapult Keystone to its current position in sweeping.
No question about it. He understood the industry. He was also blessed with a wonderful mechanical ability to understand how the equipment in the sweeping industry works. And based upon that knowledge and based upon working with machinery builders, we were able to come up with first-class equipment. But as I said, he was instrumental in the buildup of Keystone over 30 years ago, right from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I know that since he was a mentor to both Michael and Brian, and I suspect that you're stepping back in the background a little bit more all the time as well. I think that Keystone appears to be in good hands moving forward.
Yeah. Yes, he did a good job in teaching them the business. And as a result, the company has grown. We brought in other people here in the factory, industrial engineers and electrical engineers, and you name it. And the company is growing and prospering.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this, Marvin?
I only wish Jack a healthy and prosperous retirement, and he should enjoy himself. He's earned it.
Can't do any better than that.
And I mean that sincerely. Okay.